Buddy, grab a seat. You ever feel like the road's the only place that makes sense? I'm Brian. Been driving trucks since I was 17. Started riding shotgun with my old man in his beat-up Volvo, learning the hum of the engine before I learned how to shave. The road's honest. You mess up, it hits you. Flat tire, missed exit, or a deer that doesn't give a damn about your schedule. No lies, no games. Just you, the wheel, and the truth. I was 22 when I scraped together enough for a down payment on my own rig. Took out a loan that felt like a noose. But man, when I climbed into that cab, it was freedom. The kind you feel in your bones. Long hauls, short hauls, didn't matter. The world shrinks to headlights, asphalt, and the next diner with decent coffee. Money wasn't great, but it was steady. Kept the lights on, kept me moving. Then I met May. Picture this, a dusty gas station outside Des Moines, sun setting, air thick with summer heat. I'm fueling up, checking my tires, when I see her, standing by a bench with a suitcase, looking like she's about to cry. Her bus left her stranded, no ride, no plan. I don't usually play hero, but something about her, frazzled, but not broken, made me walk over. Where you headed? I asked, wiping grease off my hands, my voice casual but steady. She said, Cedar Rapids. College, her tone flat, eyes wary. I nodded. Hop in. I'm going that way. She hesitated, sized me up like I might be a creep, but climbed into the cab. By the time we hit the highway, she was talking, nervous at first, then easy, like we'd known each other forever. She laughed when I told her about the time a fly got stuck in my cab's vent and buzzed like it was staging a prison break. It was me versus the fly, man, a full-on cage match, I said, grinning, my voice light and playful. She doubled over, tears in her eyes, giggling like a kid, her voice bright and warm. Her laugh was real, not the fake kind you hear at bars. I caught myself stealing glances at her, dark hair tucked behind her ear, eyes bright even in the dim cab light. My heart did a little stutter, and I thought, careful, Brian. This one's trouble. We swapped numbers when I dropped her off. Didn't think much of it. Just a good deed, right? But she texted me the next day. Thanks for the ride, trucker. Oh, you won. Her message playful, almost teasing. I grinned like an idiot. That's how it started, man. Simple. Honest. We were good for a while. Lived in my old 2-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy. Cracked linoleum. A couch that sagged in the middle, and a fridge that hummed louder than my rig. I'd wake up at dawn, kiss her forehead while she was still tangled in the sheets, and head out for a haul. She'd be off to her classes, studying something about education, wanting to make a difference. I didn't get it, but I loved how her eyes lit up when she talked about it, her voice full of fire. Mornings were quiet magic. One time, I'm up before the sun, brewing coffee in our chipped pot, the smell filling the kitchen. May stumbles in, half asleep, wearing my old flannel, too big for her. She's ironing one of my shirts for a haul, muttering about how I always wrinkle them. You're hopeless, Brian, she says, her voice soft and teasing, a smile tugging at her lips. I pour her a mug, extra sugar like she likes, and lean against the counter, watching her. You're too good to me, I say, my tone warm, almost reverent, and she rolls her eyes, but her cheeks flush. That moment, with the steam rising and the dawn light creeping in, felt like we were building something solid. Evenings were our time. I'd come home, boots caked in dirt, and she'd be there, stirring eggs in a pan or flipping through a textbook. We'd eat cheap dinners, sausage, canned beans, maybe some lemonade from the gas station. She'd curl up on my lap, twirling the collar of my flannel, and whisper, when you're here, everything's calm. Her voice low and sincere, like a secret just for me. My chest would swell, like I was doing something right for once. One night, we're cooking together, spaghetti, sauce from a jar, nothing special. She's chopping onions, tears streaming down her face, and I'm laughing, teasing her about crying over dinner. Shut up, trucker, she says, tossing a piece of onion at me, her voice playful, eyes sparkling. I catch it, pop it in my mouth, and grin. We're dancing around the kitchen, radio playing some old country song, her laughing as I spin her clumsy like. That's what love felt like, you know? Like you're home, no matter where you are. I'd tell her stories from the road, dumb stuff, like the time I nearly dozed off near Omaha, and a truck stop burger saved my life. She'd listen, chin on her hand, eyes wide like I was some kind of hero. You're crazy, Brian, she'd say, her voice soft, proud, a smile in her words. We'd plan little things, weekend drives, maybe a trip to the lake. Never happened, but talking about it felt good, like we had a future. Things shifted when May got a promotion. She'd been working part-time at some community center, but they bumped her up to program director, running workshops for kids, meeting with important people. She started talking about networking and professional development. I didn't get half of it, but I nodded, happy she was happy, my voice steady but curious. Her world was growing, and I figured mine could stay the same. The road didn't change, so why should I? But I noticed it first at home. She'd come back from work, all dressed up in blouses and heels, and I'd be in my usual jeans, flannel, maybe some engine grease I forgot to scrub off. She'd kiss me, but it was quick, distracted. One night, I was telling her about a close call with a deer on I-80, how my heart was racing as I swerved. She cut me off mid-sentence, sighing, "Brian, it's always trucks with you. Can we talk about something else?" Her voice had an edge, sharp and impatient, her eyes barely meeting mine. I froze, fork halfway to my mouth, my stomach twisting like I'd swallowed something sour. "Sure," I muttered, my tone flat, forcing a nod. She's tired, I thought. Rough day? Then came the comments. Little ones, but they piled up. "You should read a book sometime," she'd say, half joking but with a bite, her voice dripping with condescension. Or, "You're tracking dirt again. Can you at least wipe your boots?" Her tone sharp, like I was a kid who didn't know better. I started noticing how she'd glance at me sometimes, like she was sizing me up and I was coming up short. My jaw would clench, my fingers twitching, but I'd swallow it, my voice silent. I didn't want to fight. Not with her. One evening, we're at the sink, washing dishes. I scrub a pot, set it upside down to dry. She looks at it, rolls her eyes, and says, "You do everything backward, Brian. Can't you even get this right?" Her voice was cold, like she was scolding a child, her lips tight. My hands froze in the soapy water, a dull ache spreading in my chest. "You serious right now?" I said, my voice low but jagged, barely holding back. She snapped, "You don't even notice how hard it is to deal with you." Her tone biting, eyes flashing. My pulse spiked, and I slammed the cabinet door, not hard, but enough to make a point. "I'm not your damn punching bag, May," I said, staring her down, my voice hard, shaking with anger. She turned away, lips pursed, her silence louder than any answer. "What would you have done, man? Just stood there and taken it?" Her new job brought new people. Colleagues, mentors, guys in button-ups who talked about TED Talks and personal growth. She started going to events, lectures, happy hours, stuff I didn't fit into. She'd invite me sometimes, but it was clear I was an afterthought. "Just don't talk about truck stuff," she'd say, half laughing but dead serious. Her voice clipped, like she was giving orders. "They won't get it." I'd nod, my gut churning, my voice silent. What's wrong with who I am? One night, we're in a grocery store, just grabbing stuff for dinner. I toss some ground beef and instant noodles in the cart, thinking we'd make something quick. May stops, hands on her hips, and says, "Can you at least pick something decent for once? Not this cheap junk." Her voice was loud, sharp with disdain, enough that an old lady nearby glanced over. My face burned, and I gripped the cart handle, my fingers digging in, trying to laugh it off. "What? You want caviar now?" I said, my tone forced, tight with embarrassment. She rolled her eyes, grabbed a bag of organic kale, and tossed it in. "You wouldn't get it," she muttered, her voice cold, like she was reading off a script. My chest felt heavy, like I was dragging a load uphill, and I followed her in silence, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Another time, we're driving to pick up some takeout, just the two of us in my truck. The cab's quiet, just the hum of the engine and the soft patter of rain on the windshield. I try to break the ice, talking about a new haul I'm excited about. A long route through Nebraska, good pay. Might be nice, you know. Wide open plains, I said, my voice hopeful, glancing at her. She stared out the window, arms crossed, not even turning her head. "Sure, Brian," she said, like she was reading off a script, her tone dismissive. I gripped the wheel tighter, my throat tight, my breath catching. The silence swallowed us. When we got to the restaurant, she hopped out before I could say anything, her heels clicking on the wet pavement. I sat there for a second, engine idling, my knuckles turning white on instinct, feeling like I was disappearing. I tried to fix it, you know. One evening, I'm home early, tired but hopeful. I found her in the living room, scrolling her phone. "Hey," I said, sitting on the couch, close but not touching, my voice soft, almost pleading. "What if we took a weekend, just us? Drive out to the lake, maybe camp, like we used to talk about?" I hated how I sounded, but I was trying. She didn't look up. "I'm busy, Brian," she said, her voice flat, eyes glued to her screen. Work's crazy right now. My fingers tapped the armrest, restless, and I nodded, swallowing hard, my voice barely a whisper. Right? Another time. But I knew there wouldn't be one. My legs felt heavy as I stood, my chest hollow, like someone scooped out everything warm. One morning, I'm in the kitchen, sipping coffee, getting ready for a haul. May walked in, dressed for work, her heels clicking on the linoleum. She set a mug in front of me, steam rising, and said, "Here. You'll need this for the road." Her voice was soft, but mechanical, like she was checking a box, a flicker of something. Habit, maybe, crossing her face. I looked at her, waiting for a smile, a glance, something to bridge the gap. Her eyes stayed on her phone, her face blank. "Thanks," I said, my voice low, trying to mean it, but the coffee tasted bitter, like regret. I sat there, gripping the mug so tight my fingers ached, staring at the steam, feeling the silence press down. She used to leave notes in my cooler. Safe roads. Trucker. Love you. Now it was just this, a mug, a gesture, empty as the space between us. I muttered, "Take care," my voice flat, worn out, but she was already halfway out the door, her heels fading into the morning. I started hanging out with Jake Moore, my buddy from the garage. One night, before things hit the breaking point, we're in his workshop, surrounded by tools and the smell of motor oil. I'm helping him wrench on an old Chevy, but my head's not in it. I told him about May, how she's pulling away, how I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Jake wiped his hands on a rag, squinted at me, and said, "Man, you hear how she talks to you? Like you're some kind of embarrassment. That ain't a partner, Brian. That's a problem." His voice was gruff, no bullshit, cutting through the haze. I stared at the wrench in my hand. I ground my teeth so hard I felt it in my ears, my breath stuck in my chest. "She's just stressed," I muttered, my voice low, defensive. Jake shook his head, his tone hard but kind. "Stress don't make you treat someone like dirt. You're better than that, man." I nodded, my throat closing up, my hands unsteady as I set the wrench down, staring at the grease on my fingers, a knot of failure twisting in my gut. Then came the night with her work friends. She had them over at our place, a bunch of polished types in button-ups and blouses. I'm in the kitchen, sipping lemonade, trying to blend in, feeling like a fish in a desert. Monica, her colleague, PR type, all smiles and sharp eyes, cornered me by the fridge. She's got this sly grin, like she's guarding something. "You know, Brian," she said, her voice low, smooth but edged with condescension. "May's going places. Big places. You ever feel like you're holding her back a little? She's soaring, Brian. Not everyone can keep up." I froze, my hand tightening around the glass until it creaked, the cold biting into my palm, my pulse hammering. "What's that supposed to mean?" I said, my voice low, steady, but my jaw clenched tight. She tilted her head, her smile sharp, her tone laced with pity. "Just an observation. She's got big dreams, you know." My breath caught, a hot flush creeping up my neck, my fingers twitching like they wanted to break something. I wanted to snap back, but my tongue felt heavy, stuck. "Mind your own business." I managed, my voice rough, almost a growl. Monica shrugged, smirking, and slipped away, her heels clicking like a countdown. I stood there, my chest caving in, my legs unsteady. Across the room, May was laughing with some guy in glasses, her hand on his arm, and Monica's words burned in my head. My throat was dry, and I grabbed my keys and left without a word. Drove around for an hour, headlights cutting through the dark, trying to shake the feeling that I was losing her. When I got back, she was on the couch, scrolling her phone. Didn't even look up. "Where'd you go?" she asked, her voice flat, disinterested, like I was a stranger. "Needed air," I said, my tone clipped, bitter. She shrugged, her eyes never leaving her screen, her silence dismissive. That night, I lay awake, her breathing soft beside me, but it felt like she was 1,000 miles away. My hands were restless, fingers tapping the mattress, Monica's words looping in my head, holding her back. The words burned, and my stomach twisted, like I was carrying a weight I couldn't put down. The fight started small, but grew teeth. One night, we're eating dinner. Leftover pizza, nothing special. I'm telling her about a new route I'm taking, how the pay's better. She cut me off, her voice sharp. "Brian, I don't care about your routes. I'm trying to build something real here, and you're stuck in neutral." Her eyes were cold, her tone biting, like I was dragging her down. My fork clattered on the plate, my face flushing with anger and shame, my knuckles tight around the handle. "What's that supposed to mean?" I said, my voice rising, shaking with fury. "I'm out there busting my ass to keep us going." She laughed, bitter, her voice dripping with scorn. Keep us going? I'm the one climbing, Brian. You're just stuck. My hands balled up under the table, nails biting into my palms. I'm not your damn project, May, I said, low and hard, my voice trembling with rage. I like my life. You used to like it too. She rolled her eyes, stood, and walked out of the kitchen, her silence louder than any shout. I sat there, staring at the pizza getting cold, my stomach churning like I'd swallowed gravel. Another time, she came home late, smelling like fancy cocktails and perfume I didn't recognize. I was on the couch, half asleep, TV flickering. You're still up? She said, her voice annoyed, like I was in her way. Yeah, I said, sitting up, my tone tight, strained. Waiting for you. She sighed, tossing her bag down, her voice sharp. I was networking, Brian. It's important. I stood, my hands twitching at my sides, my voice low. More important than us. Her eyes narrowed, her tone cold and cutting. You wouldn't get it. You don't even try. I felt my voice drop, icy. I'm trying right now, May. You're the one checking out. She stormed off to the bedroom, slamming the door, the sound echoing in my ears. My chest ached, my hands trembling like I was holding onto something slipping away. I grabbed my jacket and left, tires screeching as I peeled out. Drove all night. Nowhere to go, just needing the road. You ever feel like you're fighting for something that's already gone, man? It kept building, like a tire about to blow. I catch her scrolling her phone, smiling at texts I wasn't meant to see. One night, I glanced at her screen, stupid, I know. Some event photo, her in a dress, arm around some guy in a suit, captioned, Smart nights with kindred spirits. My stomach dropped, my hands went cold, like I'd been dunked in ice water, my breath hitching. I didn't ask about it. Didn't need to. The truth was in her eyes when she looked at me, like I was a stranger crashing her party. Then came the restaurant. She'd been on me for weeks to step up, to try something new. So I agreed. A fancy place, all wood and glass, waiters reciting menus like poetry. I shaved, put on a new shirt, even watched a video on how to hold a fork right. Felt like a kid at a school dance, my palms sweaty, my tie too tight, every step stiff and wrong. We're sitting there, her talking about some conference, me nodding, trying to keep up, my fingers fidgeting with the napkin. I reached for her hand, just to feel her, to feel us. She pulled back, sharp, and hissed, Don't touch me here. You look pathetic. Her voice was low, venomous, her eyes cold and hard, a flicker of contempt crossing her face. The waiter froze, eyes darting away. My heart stopped, my ears ringing like I'd been slapped, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. My hand hovered, then dropped, heavy as lead. I wanted to yell, to ask why she hated me so much, but my mouth wouldn't move. I just sat there, my breath shallow, my fingers twitching, the candlelight flickering in her cold eyes. I stood, slow, pushed my chair back, and looked her dead in the eye. Don't worry, May. I won't embarrass you again, I said, my voice steady, cutting, laced with bitter irony. Her lips parted, but she said nothing, her eyes flickering with something. Hurt. Maybe, but I didn't care. I pulled out my card, paid, my hands shaking as I handed it over, and walked out, each step heavier than the last. Got in my truck, engine rumbling, and drove. No radio, no noise, just the hum of the road and her words echoing. Pathetic. My fingers gripped the wheel until it creaked, my chest splitting open. I didn't cry, haven't in years, but my eyes stung, and I had to blink hard to see the road. When I got home, she was already there, sitting at the kitchen table, her coat still on, staring at the wall. I stood in the doorway, my boots heavy on the linoleum, my voice low and raw. Why'd you say it, May? I asked, my tone worn, barely holding together. She looked up, her eyes tired but sharp, her voice flat, final. You know why, Brian? You don't fit here anymore. I laughed, a short, bitter sound, my throat tight. Did I ever? I said, my voice low, edged with pain. She shrugged, her voice cold, like a door slamming shut. Maybe not. My hands curled at my sides, my jaw locked, and I turned away, the silence between us heavier than ever. I went to the bedroom, lay down, and stared at the ceiling, my heart pounding, knowing it was over. What would you have said, buddy? How do you even answer that? The next morning, I was up before dawn, packing my things. The apartment felt too small, the air thick with everything unsaid. I stuffed clothes into my duffel, my movements slow, deliberate. In the drawer, I found an old photo. Me and May at a diner, her laughing, my arm around her, both of us young and stupid. My fingers traced the edge, my chest aching like a bruise, my breath catching in my throat. Then, in my jacket pocket, a crumpled note. Safe roads, trucker. Love you. I froze, my hands shaking, my jaw tight as I stared at it, a knot of pain twisting in my gut. I tore it in half, let the pieces fall to the floor, my fingers twitching, my eyes burning. May was in the living room, scrolling her phone, her back to me. I didn't say a word, just grabbed my bag and walked out, the door clicking shut behind me. The sound echoed, final, like a lock snapping shut. I texted Jake, my fingers clumsy on the screen. Be at your place tonight. My voice silent, but my throat raw. I didn't look back. I crashed with Jake for a bit. His apartment's a mess, tools scattered, coffee pot stained, the air thick with motor oil. She's out of her mind, man, he said, handing me a soda, his voice gruff but warm, a steady anchor. You're better than that. I shrugged, staring at the can, my thumb denting the aluminum, my voice low, hollow. Maybe. I didn't believe it. Not yet. For a week, I stayed with Jake, sleeping on his lumpy couch, my days blurring together. One night, I'm sitting outside his place, the air cool, the street quiet. I'm tinkering with a spare tire rim, my hands moving on autopilot, but my head spinning. I kept seeing May's face, her cold eyes in the restaurant, her hand on that guy's arm. My fingers tightened on the wrench, my breath uneven, my jaw locked, but I didn't break. I thought about the road, how it's always been there, honest and unforgiving. I muttered to myself, my voice barely audible, rough with exhaustion. You're enough, man. It's the first time I'd said it, and it felt like a lie, but I held on to it, like a lifeline. I took a month off, something I hadn't done in years. Rented a small workshop, started messing with tires and rims. Custom stuff, side hustle. Kept my hands busy so my head wouldn't eat me alive. The first week, I kept checking my phone, half expecting her to call, to say she was sorry. She didn't. And you know what? That hurt more than the words. A year later, I'm at a diner, grabbing a burger after a long haul. My phone's off, my rig's parked outside, and I'm feeling not good, but steady. The workshop's doing all right, enough to keep the bills paid. I'm not the guy I was with May. I'm harder, maybe, but not broken. The road taught me that. You take the hits, you keep moving. Then I saw her, May, walking in with a friend, looking like she just stepped out of one of her events. She spotted me, froze, then walked over, hesitant. Brian, she said, her voice soft, trembling, her eyes searching mine, a flicker of regret crossing her face. Can we talk? I nodded, leaning back, arms crossed, my jaw tight, but my voice calm. She sat, picked at her sleeve, and said, I messed up. I didn't see what I had. I'm sorry. Her voice cracked, her eyes wet, her chin quivering, but I didn't feel the pull I used to. My chest was quiet, my hands steady, my breath slowed, steady like the road itself. Thanks for saying it, I said, my voice even, firm, no trace of anger, my tone final. But I'm not going back. I've got my road now. She nodded, her lips trembling, her eyes glistening as she stood. I watched her go, and for the first time, I didn't feel pathetic. I felt free. She told me I was just a trucker. Turns out, the road's the only one that never lied.